We've all been in cemeteries like this saying goodbye to someone that we love. But what if someone walked into the graveyard and raised your loved one up from the grave? Could you imagine that? It's exactly what happens in our devotion today in John chapter 11. Leading up to today's passage, we have seen Jesus' dear friend Lazarus passed away. Mary and Martha were Lazarus' sisters, and they were grieving, so much so that when Jesus arrived, the Bible says, Jesus wept, and he knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead, but he wept. It shows you the compassion he has for his people when they're hurting. The Bible says God is near to the brokenhearted. So if your heart is breaking, he's near to you. And our passage begins today in verse 38. The Bible says Jesus once more was deeply moved as he came to the tomb. I love it that we serve a God who is deeply moved, who cares about our pain. And there was a cave where Lazarus had been buried and a stone in front of it. And so Jesus says, take away the stone. Martha says, but Lord, by this time there will be a bad odor. He's been dead 4 days. I love what the King James Version says. Verily, Lord, he will stinketh. If you've been dead 4 days, yes, you will stinketh. Martha was always the practical sister. But Jesus insisted. They rolled away the stone. Jesus offered up a prayer really for the benefit of the people standing around. And then the Bible says, with a loud voice, Jesus cried out, Lazarus, come forth. And I love how the Bible reads in verse 44. The dead man came out, reminding us he's not sick, he's not sleeping, he's dead. For 4 days has been dead. But he comes out. And look what it says next. He came out, but his hands and feet were wrapped with strips of linen. And Jesus says, take off his grave clothes and set him free. It's as if when he came out of the grave, he's alive, but he was still wrapped up kind of like a mummy, and he's walking like this. Reminds me a little bit of some believers who have been set free by Jesus Christ. We are saved, born again, we have new life, but sometimes we hold on to old habits, and we find ourselves, though we are saved, still being bound by the lifestyle that we used to have. And someone needs to hear that it's time to take off the grave clothes of who you used to be and step into the new life that Jesus Christ has given to you. One more thought. Have you ever wondered why Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth? Why did he say Lazarus? Why not just come forth? If he had just said come forth, he would have emptied the whole graveyard. So he says, Lazarus, just you. Everybody else stay put. Lazarus, come forth. One of these days, Jesus is going to shout again. The Bible says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16, the Lord will come again with a shout. And the next time, when he says, come forth, it will be to every believer in every cemetery all over the globe. And there will be a mass resurrection when Jesus comes again. And if we are alive on that day, we will be caught up and raptured too. Let the story of Lazarus be a reminder that death is not the end for a child of God. It's merely a doorway that leads to life everlasting. Have a great day.